Good to be with you. Thank you. Sit down, sit down. Sit down. I haven't said anything yet. How many watched the State of the Union address a couple months back? Any of you watch the State? I always tell folks this is as close to pageantry as we get in America, so I go to it. I don't really remember a whole lot of what President Biden said because he didn't say anything really that noteworthy in my judgment. But I thought the response afterwards by Governor Huckabee Sanders, did you watch the response? Any of you watch that? Yeah, I thought she did a great job. And she said, the divide in America today, I thought the best line, the divide in America today is normal versus crazy. Remember when she said that? And it is so true. Think about the left today. It is crazy to say boys should compete against girls in sports. It's just crazy. But that's where the left's at. It is crazy to think we should defund the police. And think about it. We got great law enforcement around here. God bless these guys for what they do. Thank you. It is crazy to say non-citizens should be voting in our elections. But that's what the left wants to do. How about this one? It is crazy to let a spy balloon, and the key word in there is spy. It is crazy to let a spy balloon fly clear across the continental United States. Now, again, not just a spy balloon, not just a spy balloon, not from Canada, not from Panama, but a spy balloon from China. It is crazy to let that fly clear across the country and then shoot it down. But that's today's left. It is crazy to use federal tax dollars to indict a former president for no crime, and then when we try to investigate, to take us to court. But that is exactly what happened this last week. And it is crazy for these federal agencies to be turned against the American people, to be weaponized against we the people like we see, and in particular the ATF. It is crazy to make you a criminal if you have a stabilizing brace for your pistol. But they did that. And it is crazy to shut down gun dealers for minor paperwork violations, but they're doing that as well. Think about it. I mean, sometimes we got to let this sink in about how serious a time we live in. Think about this. First, they want to make you a criminal for having a firearm accessory that they said was okay for a decade. Then they want to shut down the places where you can purchase a firearm. That from the ATF. In fact, in 2 weeks, we plan on passing legislation that will overturn that ATF rule when it comes to the pistol brace, passing it out of the Judiciary Committee. All those crazy things, that's why what you're doing, standing up for Second Amendment liberties, for freedom, is so darn important. And understand what we're up against. I always say, the left has a template. The left has a way they go about business. It's the same playbook all the time. The left will tell a lie. Big media will report the lie. Big tech will amplify the lie. And then when you try to tell the truth, they try to censor you. They call you a racist. They call you a fascist. They come after you. The cancel culture mob, the left, the whole thing comes after you. If you're a mom and dad going to a school board meeting, you're called an extremist. If you're pro-life, you're called a radical traditional Catholic. And the FBI tries to infiltrate the church that you go to. We found that out this past week. Information we got from the FBI. And if you believe in the Second Amendment, they'll call you some MAGA hillbilly from flyover country. Right? That's what they do. I mean, I'm in that category. I'm from right next door in God's country, Ohio. That's what we're up against. Yeah, we got some Ohioans here. So I just came to say thank you. Thank you for being in the fight. Thank you for being part of this great organization, this organization that is committed to protecting freedom. I learned a long time ago, good things don't just happen. You want to accomplish things of meaning and significance, you got to get off the sideline and get in the game. And you were doing that. So thank you for doing that. It's not easy. You're going to get attacked. You know that. It happens all the time. The press is going to attack us. In the press, they always get it right. I tell my colleagues in Congress, if the press isn't saying something bad about you, you're probably not doing anything any good, right? That's just how it works. I love what Cal Thomas syndicated columnist Cal Thomas had a great line when he was talking about the way normal people, like folks here today, view things, and the way the elite national media, like the New York Times, looks at things. And he had a great line. He says, I get up every morning, I read my Bible in the New York Times so I can see what each side's up to. A lot of truth to that. So thank you for being in the fight. Thank you for helping the good people who do run for office, who go and fight for the things that make our country special. And in particular, well, you're kind. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. Sit down, sit down. You're very kind. I really want to thank you for helping President Trump over these last years. What they've done to this man, what they've done to a president who did more what he said he would do when he was our leader, when he was our commander-in-chief, than any president I have ever seen. Thank you for standing by him. You think about, they spied on his campaign, they raided his home, now they indict him, they've been after him. But in spite of everyone being after him, he said he would reduce regulations, he did. He said he would cut taxes, he did. He said he would build the wall, he did. He said he would put the embassy in Jerusalem, he did. He said he would get us out of that crazy Iran deal, and he did. He said he would put conservatives on our highest court, and he did. And a whole bunch of other things he got done. And he did it with everyone. He did it. President Trump did it with everyone in that town against him. Every Democrat was against him. Everyone in the mainstream press was against him. Half the Republicans were against him. And maybe most importantly, all the bureaucracy was against him. But in spite of that, he did what he told us, we the people, that he would do. And I so appreciate that attitude. So thank you so much by standing by him. What he's been through, I don't know of anyone who could. He stood up to it, and he always says this, and it's so true. He fights for us. He stands. They come after him because he's fighting for us. That is so true. That is so true. Let me just finish by saying this. It is a tough time for our country, and I do believe our freedoms and our rights are under assault by the very government that's supposed to serve us. But never forget, it's the greatest country ever, and we have risen to the occasion every single time there's been a challenge, every single time there's been some obstacle, some difficulty. We as Americans rise to the challenge. We'll do it again. We got to have the right attitude. I call it the attitude that Paul talked about in Scripture. My favorite Scripture verse, 2 Timothy 4:7. Paul's the old guy, gives advice to the young guy. What's he say? Fight the good fight, finish the course, keep the faith. I tell people I love that verse because it's not wimpy, sissy words. It's fight, finish, keep. Words of actions, words that fit Americans. That is our charge. It always has been. Let me just finish. I tell this story a lot, but I think it captures how great this country, the greatest nation ever, United States of America, how great this country is. My wife Polly and I, this is several years ago now, we live just over in Ohio and just north of Dayton, and we have some good friends in the Dayton area who invited us to come down for dinner. It's this time of year, summertime of year. And they said, we were free that evening. We said, yeah, we'll come down. And they said, well, before we go to dinner, we want to tour the Wright brothers' home there in Dayton. And we said, great. We like history and the house we live in, raised our family in, is an old home. And we said, great, we love that. We'd love to do that. So we go and meet our friends there, and you pay the lady at the door like $5 with the Historical Society, and they take you on a tour of the Wright brothers' home. And you learn all kinds of neat things about these two amazing Americans. You learn about the bicycle shop. You learn about other things they were tinkering and messing with. It was all interesting stuff. And you learn all about the family and the house and everything else. The last stop on the tour, it's Orville's bedroom. You're there, and they tell you a few more things about this particular Wright brother. And then they finish the tour by showing you two pictures. First picture they hold up was that very first flight, 1903, Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, in this thing they called a plane. And you looked at that picture and you're like, how did that thing get off the ground? I mean, this contraption, the truth is it barely did. Flew like 100 feet, got like 10 feet off the ground. And you look at that and you kind of remember that from school when you learn that in 8th, 9th grade, whenever they teach you that, and you're like, okay, that's kind of interesting. They put that picture down, and then they hold up a second picture. 44 years later, 1947, Chuck Yeager breaking the sound barrier in a jet. And I was like, wow, I didn't remember that. Maybe I wasn't paying attention that day in school. I didn't know that. That's amazing. In 44 years, we went from two guys flying 100 feet in a thing they called a plane to another American breaking the sound barrier in a jet. And they put that picture down. Literally, that's the end of the tour. And Polly and I start walking out that door, and as we're walking out, it hit me. Wait a minute. Why did they stop there? I represent Wapakoneta, Ohio, hometown of Neil Armstrong, who 22 years later stepped on the moon. Stop and think about it. In 66 years, we went from two Americans flying 100 feet to putting a man on the moon. This country did that in one lifetime. I would argue there is no other nation capable of doing something like that, only this country. So don't ever let anyone tell you this is not the greatest nation ever and it's worth fighting for. God bless you all. Have a great day.